I decided that it would be really clever of me to dump loads of pressure on myself and say, right, the idea for this album is to take a look back at all the other five and look at all of the little things that held it back from maybe being professional or whatever, just small little because it's always small stupid things where you go, oh, giving myself away a bit there, you know. And so that was number one, which was take a look at all that stuff and try and fix most of it, if not all of it. And then the other one was equally nearly impossible, which was try and push the absolute best gain sounds you've ever come across out of the Tone Lab, and also to make, if required anyway, bespoke sounds for each track. If the track didn't need it, don't do it. But the idea was to, you know, make everything fit with the specific song better than before. I think in the long run it did work, because it was probably the closest, to use an accidental Black Star pun, even though it wasn't on there, was the closest to the sound in my head of any of them, even the ones that came afterwards, you know.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good achievement, and it's a big achievement, really.
So two very difficult things to do.
And definitely you can hear, I think, a lot more variance in sound throughout the album compared to some of the previous ones.
I didn't realise how far things were moving forward in terms of writing and things. And I decided it would be a really clever idea to take that intro that was originally done on acoustic for the title track. And I thought that would be a really interesting thing to bring back, because it does come back in anyway, at not random points, but at certain points in the song, it comes back as an acoustic thing.
Yeah.
But I thought this would be a really cool thing to solo over, not realizing how unbelievably hard it actually would be. Because I was used to coming up with sequences and using my experience of improvising to sort of work a way around it. And then
of course,
I didn't realize that I didn't have quite enough know-how to do it over that sequence. I thought, I don't know what's going on. I can't actually physically or mentally solo over this, and it's only the first song, you know.
I do remember the wobble whirl.
And I remember I texted you in a panic, and I texted Katie Wainwright, who did the front cover, in a panic. Katie's response, which she doesn't remember any of this, was really interesting. And I think it was bang on the money, actually. She said, you haven't lost it. What you're doing is you're pushing writing onto yourself that you haven't come across yet. You were sort of typically supportive, as you would be. You were like, no, you haven't lost anything, you know, it doesn't just disappear. My way of resolving it was to we were talking about this off the record, so to speak, the other day, which is that when you've got a load of experience of playing, you can give yourself a guitar lesson without going to somebody. I kind of used my natural ear training in a way to figure out where the big issues were, and then sort of compartmentalize it a bit, and sort of found out why half of it was a big problem. Half of that sequence was a huge problem. And when I sorted it out, I just kept recording and recording and recording until my memory sat in the right place and remembered how to do everything at the right time. It still took a long time to do the solo because I kept forgetting some of the things I was teaching myself, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you had to learn your way totally around your own song.
Yeah. Part of why the second track was so happy-go-lucky, was so simple, was a test bed to see if I had indeed not lost it.
Yeah, so somewhat back to standard form.
I was like, I don't know if I'm back until this is done and succeeded, the second song.
Yeah.
So that was not a nice period of time, because not only that song itself, Loaded Question, but then Happy Go Lucky as well. That whole time between writing that and finishing it, I didn't know if I still had it.
Yeah.
So that was a bit scary. But obviously now my more experienced brain knows the reason behind it, and it was Katie's original theory, Uh,
Of course. It's probably a good thing, though. I mean, it probably speaks volumes into how far you have pushed your songwriting for this album.
Stay Restless is probably the best thing.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely be in a good frame of mind for it, and yeah, at least now you know, like for future albums after that, that if you got stuck, there is a way out. Standout tracks for you.
Surprise, surprise! I've got Loaded Question on there. I've got Hyperbole down, which is we were constantly mispronouncing before because hyperbole doesn't sound as good as what we were saying. You always get one or two songs that sound mechanically better than all the others.
Yep.
And I feel in many ways that Hyperbole is probably the best in terms of the overall engineering. And I couldn't ever tell you why that was. It was obviously just a mixture of frequencies that weren't there on the others.
Yeah, of course.
Fitting together. So that was cool. And that was done on a nice cheap guitar as well. So it just shows that that has nothing to do with anything cost.
No, that's true.
And then the other one was Ballads, which is Moment of Reflection.
Which equipment for the album?
Quite minimal compared to the previous one because we had a couple of kitchen sinks on the previous one. JS 1200 for a huge chunk of it because there's only 2 electrics on the album, I believe. Maybe one or both of the Nighthawks. I had the Honeyburst, the best paint job I've ever seen on a guitar ever, still. Still on the orange crafter, which did a lot of work until the Ibanez came along for next time. Loaded Question wouldn't have had anywhere near the effect if the acoustic wasn't on there, the title track, because it's a very sci-fi atmospheric kind of breakdown, isn't it?
Yes,
and intro as well, obviously. Vintage modified jazz bass. always then running through the Tone Lab as well. Sonar X1 producer, the Focusrite Scarlett 18i8 was still in service back then.
Excellent.
Headphones, the AKGs, which were, all I ever did when I needed new headphones was buy the same ones again.
Where can we find this album? Where can we listen to it?
It's on Amazon in terms of like buying from and streaming.
Yep.
iTunes and Apple Music, and the same thing, buying or streaming, because obviously the Apple Music is the streaming side. Spotify, apparently. I hope so.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
YouTube, in terms of my channel, a playlist on my channel and on YouTube Music itself as well, the app. And also obviously on the website. But yeah, choice is important now, because because choice has been given for such a long time, if you say to somebody, you can only have this on my website, people are going to go, well, I'm not used to that because I'm used to choice, so they're just going to go where they want instead.